One of the common questions I get is whether it's a bad idea to build a pond under trees. Leaves, roots, organic build-up, people worry they're setting themselves up for problems down the track. So today let's talk about that. But if you don't already know me, my name is Kev, and my aim is to help people build and maintain a pond without spending a fortune. If that sounds like something that interests you, you might like to subscribe and visit my website, Ozponds.com. So leaves are the obvious concern, and if you're building under trees, leaf drop is just part of the equation. There's no getting around that. If you want some kind of skimming action, intake bays work better because they pull leaves and debris into a single location where you can actually deal with them, and they're quite large. During heavier leaf drop, netting the pond for part of the year can also make a big difference. Then you have aeration and oxygen exchange, and that helps bacteria and other organisms break down organic material. Some leaf material is good as it provides habitats for a diversity of organisms, even fungi and different types of algae. But even with those measures in place, organic material is still going to build up over time. That's just the reality of ponds in general, but even more so in ponds under trees. So this is where planning matters. It's worth asking yourself early on how you'll deal with that build-up when it happens, not if it happens. So if you're designing a new pond, or you're retrofitting an existing one, this is the sort of thing I help people through on Ozponds.com, especially when it comes to intake bays, filter design, required pump flows. Some people choose to add bottom drains, suction grids, or solid handling pumps at the bottom of the pond, so that when organic material sinks, it gets exported out of the pond and sent to the filters. That can work well, but there's a trade-off. You're sending more materials to the filters, which means they'll need more frequent cleaning. So while the pond itself might stay cleaner, the maintenance doesn't disappear, it just moves somewhere else. Personally, I keep my designs really simple. I'm always a bit cautious about putting holes in liners, and I also tolerate quite a lot of organic build-up in my ponds because I want a low maintenance experience overall. That approach works for me, but it's not for everyone, and that's okay. Roots are another big worry, especially the fear that they'll puncture the liner. In my experience, with a good quality liner and proper underlayment, root penetrating the liner is extremely rare. When I rebuilt one of my ponds, I was amazed at how much root material had grown outside the liner and under the underlayment, yet not a single root had made it through the actual liner. I also supply a retail plant nursery that has ponds sitting under very mature waterhousia trees. These ponds have been there for over 20 years without any liner issues, which was reassuring to hear because it's something that I was worried about early on myself. Where roots do tend to cause problems is at the pond's edge. Roots can grow over the top of the liner, and as they thicken over time, they can slowly pull the liner down, and that's usually where issues start. Leaving a generous safety margin between the liner height and the water level helps. Creating solid barriers and sandwiching the liner between them makes it harder for roots to move the liner down. Sometimes I'll use rocks on the water side as well as the garden side. Rocks can be abrasive, which understandably worries people, but using that non-woven geotextile gives me confidence. I've only ever damaged a liner once, and that was when I didn't use any geotextile. You might also like to choose a concrete edge or a timber edging, anything more solid than relying on the rubber liner itself. As roots grow and mature, it doesn't take much for them to slowly push flexible material out of place. Being able to inspect your edges also matters. Wild natural edges look great, but they make it harder to spot problems early on. The good news is that if you're using a quality liner, even if a root does cause an issue, once you remove it, the liner can usually just be put back into position. So building a pond under trees isn't automatically a mistake. It just means being honest about the trade-offs, thinking ahead, and designing the pond around how much maintenance you actually want to do. If you want help planning this properly, I've got resources and calculators on Ozponds.com, and I've also laid out this sort of thinking step by step in the formulas blueprint. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching. See ya.